Imagine finding out that your grandmother is a Lugawu. I mean, Lugawus are regular people that are walking among us. They just shapeshift at night. Somebody submitted a spooky story saying that they caught their grandmother taking off their skin. I am back with another spooky story. And this one is a submission from Jackmel, Haiti. We're gonna call the person who submitted this story Manushka. So Manushka grew up hearing stories from her grandmother about Lugawus, how they can take their skins off at night and fly through the sky like fire. And she always said, if you hear wings outside your window at midnight, don't look, pray. Manushka thought that her grandmother was being dramatic. She thought that the Lugawu stories were just folklore. But everything changed one night when Manushka was 16. So they lived in a small wooden house on the hill, surrounded by banana trees. The grandmother's room was right next to Manushka's room. And every night she would hear some form of activities going on over there in the grandmother's room. Whether it be whispering prayers after midnight. Now it does make sense for the grandmother to be praying because she came from a prayerful family. Her entire family, as far as Manushka knows, is religious. And it wasn't the low whispering praying sound. There were other things going on in there too. I really started to raise suspicion with Manushka. It would be a sound of something dripping in the room. She would hear noises of something heavy just dragging on the floor. And then sometimes there would be a smell there. And the way she describes the smell, she can't, but the best way would be like burnt oil and metal. So one night, enough was enough. Manushka decided that she wanted to see what her grandmother was up to. So while everybody was settled down in the house, she waited until 2 a.m. She walked out her room, peeped through the crack of her grandmother's door, and Manushka says that what she saw still haunts her till this day. She was standing in front of this big basin. She was humming in this deep, strange tone. She dipped her hand in some sort of like black looking oil and just starts rubbing it on her skin all over, very slowly as if she was washing herself. Then she reaches behind her neck and starts pulling her skin. From the back of her neck, her skin slid off so smoothly as if she was taking off a dress. And underneath, she says it was horrifying. Her body looked black and wet. And it's crazy because she can't make out like skeletons, bones, or anything. Her skin just came off. And at this point, Manushka froze. She says she watched her grandmother fold her skin, placed it in a calabash bowl, and whispered something over it. Then just suddenly, it happened. Split of a second. It happened a split of a second. 1 second she was standing in the middle of the room. The next second she flew out the window. Just gone. So at this point, Manushka runs to the other window, but she didn't see her. She's looking through another window. She doesn't see her grandmother. What she sees instead is fire flying through the sky, headed toward the cemetery. That's when Manushka realized that her grandmother wasn't praying at night. She was feeding. Now, Manushka says that she has a lot of stories about her Lugawu grandmother. Because if you want to know what happened and how the family dealt with the Lugawu, you gotta come back for part 2. So leave a comment saying part 2. Make sure you follow me for spooky content. I am so close to 300,000 followers. Like I say at the end of every single video, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl. Organized crime is so back. I don't know if you guys heard, but they just robbed the Louvre. So basically it's a museum in France and it has like priceless jewelry in there, and I'm talking like timepieces. It was like straight out of a movie. These people got into the Louvre during broad daylight, mind you, 30 minutes after they just opened. They had this long ladder. They climbed up the ladder. 2 of them were dressed as construction workers. Like, are we serious? And they successfully made it all the way up there and stole priceless. I can't even put a price on how much jewelry they stole, but they stole hundreds and thousands of diamonds, bro. First of all, how much y'all think they gonna resell this crown for? Because I would like to get my hands on this bad boy. But they stole all of this. And each of these pieces have thousands of diamonds in them. Now, of course, they probably can't sell it as is, so they have to break it down. However, other people are saying that they can sell it as is to other nations. Like, those pieces are probably already halfway out the country by now. They got upstairs. They cut the glass open because apparently the glass was weak. They cut it open and they just stole the jewelry and walked out. Literally, like, it all happened under 7 minutes. They tried to take one of the king's crown, but they didn't get away with that one. And they got out the building and escaped via scooters. Not motorcycles, not even bikes, not a car, a scooter. And you got the French government or whoever the fuck talking about, we gonna catch them. When I catch you, Ricky, I don't know if we believe you. When people ask them like, yo, how could this happen? Like, there were people actively in the museum while this heist happened. No noise, nobody got hurt. Just good old-fashioned heisting. But pretty much they responded with, yeah, so in the whole north wing of the museum, we have no security cameras. Bro? They cut the glass open. There were no, like, security measures there either. Like, you know, an alarm that would go off. No. Okay. There are no security guards with weapons guarding each room. No. Okay. And the glass there itself was just cheap. Right. I don't know, guys. This brought a little bit of excitement back into my life. I felt like I was getting really bored. This was a good old-fashioned heist. Y'all think they're gonna get caught? I don't know. No, this story actually tops most of the spooky stories that I've told on this page. I'm back with part 2. So that night, when the grandmother flew away out the window, Manushka couldn't sleep. So she sat in her bed with her Bible in her lap, just kind of like pacing back and forth, trying to ease her mind and understand what she just saw. She went around to see what everybody else was up to, and it seemed like everybody else in the house was in a deep sleep. So she knew that she had to wait until the night was over so she can tell the rest of her family what she saw. Now, Manushka's grandmother has always been kind to her, basically grandmother of the year. So seeing what she saw, she didn't know what to make of this. Was her grandmother evil? So eventually, after a few hours, the grandmother comes home around 4 a.m. She heard scratching at the windows. She heard something circling the house. It's almost like she froze again. The next thing you know, the grandmother was back inside the house. So following day, Manushka tells her parents what she saw. At this point, the parents themselves seem shook at what Manushka is saying. Not shook like this is brand new information, but shook like, oh my gosh, not again. So the parents decide to call the grandmother's brother, and the grandmother's brother is actually a pastor. So the brother comes to the house and the grandmother doesn't suspect anything. They tell the grandmother that the brother is just there to visit, he's just passing through. The brother told everybody in the house. The brother reveals that the grandmother actually made a promise to him when they were younger that she would no longer do that Lugawu stuff, and that she would turn her life to Christ and leave that demonic stuff in the past. The grandmother did promise the brother some odd years ago. Grandmother moved on, had kids had kids. Nobody knew all this time. Now, Manushka's mother did have a clue that her mother was a Lugawu. She had seen her mother do this before, but the mother chucked it up to she was sleepwalking, so therefore she was hallucinating. She never brought it up to her mother, and it never happened again. So when Manushka told the mother what she saw, mom's like, oh my God, not this again. So now the brother tells everybody in the house without the presence of the grandmother that basically they have to catch her while she's in true form. But that would be hard because when she transforms, she actually kind of puts some type of spell on the house that makes it hard for people to move. So if they're asleep, they would basically remain asleep. If you're up, you just wouldn't be able to move. So the brother instructed that everybody sleeps with a Bible underneath their pillow. Say your prayer of protection and avoid going to sleep altogether actually. That night when she goes flying, she'll leave behind her skin, and from there we'll be able to move forward. True enough, around 2 a.m., once again, the sounds start coming out of the grandmother's room. She takes off her skin and takes off. So they go into her room and barred her windows. So if she's flying back, she can't get back in. Then they find the calabash with her skin, and the uncle says that a Lugawu cannot wear their skin once it's been salted. They grinded up garlic and salt and lathered it all over the skin. Now everybody goes back to their room and is waiting. The loud sound comes back around the house. I guess she tried to go in through her window and realized that it was barred. So the Lugawu goes around to Manushka's window, says, Manushka, open the door for me, petite moi, which translates to my child. Manushka ignores her grandmother and went back to praying. Somehow the grandmother did manage to force herself inside the house. But when she went back to her skin, the scream that came out of that woman was not human. She was yelling and screaming. This went on for hours. Everybody in the house just watched her. And this actually didn't take her out. It gave the grandmother severe burns, but she did live to see another day. Thank you, Manushka, for submitting that story. If you have a spooky story that you want me to tell, feel free to submit it to me right here on TikTok or on Instagram. If you love these long spooky stories, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel for longer stories. I say at the end of every single video, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl. Okay, so I went to a predominantly white institution, so let me tell y'all some of the racism that I was subjected to. I start off this story by saying I command my younger self. I had a lot of energy, okay? I fought every single thing that didn't sit right with me tooth and nail. I didn't know how to pick my battles just yet. Because of that, And because of that, of course, I was the difficult, angry black woman. I went to Brooklyn College. I was in their BFA program, and majority of the staff were white. They broke up each grades into ensembles, and each ensembles had anywhere between 8 to 15 people. My ensemble had 10 to 12 students, and majority of my ensemble members were actually students of color. We only had 2 white kids in the class. But I was the angry one, not only to the staff, but to my fellow ensemble members. Because black women, specifically dark-skinned women, are not allowed to be socially awkward, to not really know how to make friends that well, want to distance themselves, to have opinions, God forbid, and to stand 10 toes down. To be fair, when I first got into the school, I had a really hard time befriending my ensemble members. It's because we were all so different. I was 19 at the time, Haitian immigrant living in the hood in this predominantly white institution. Yes, there were other people of color that assimilated really well into the white space. And so for me, it was hard. During my off times, I didn't really take the time to hang out with everybody. I would sit by myself all the time. It was no beef at all. It was more so like, damn, I don't really care to talk about the things that they're talking about, so I'm just gonna stay over here. But if anybody wants to come and talk to me, we could talk. I was always cool. I just never forced myself to fit into the space. I had to tell y'all this little backstory so y'all can understand the dynamic between me and the ensemble members. And this actually can be a series about what I endured in that school. From the students to the staff, bro, I was a problem. I can't have a bitch feeling like I can't stand on business. I can't speak my mind. Well, fast forward to my second semester there. We had this white professor teaching us about black plays during Black History Month. Now, this isn't a play that we were going to perform for a school or anything. This is a class thing that we were working on as a class. We were working on the play Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. If you're not familiar with Ma Rainey, she's a pioneer, influential black recording blues artist. Dark-skinned woman, might I add. This white professor assigns the class this play, and he does the casting. For the main character, Ma Rainey, the dark-skinned woman who the play is about. Ma Rainey, the dark-skinned woman. By the way, let me just note that I was the only dark-skinned girl in that class. Sit with that. Do you know who got casted to play Ma Rainey for this practice play in the classroom? The Mexican girl got casted as Ma Rainey. And her understudy, the light-skinned girl. She's very light-skinned. You know what I was casted to play? The dark-skinned girl, the whore. So you know, nobody saw a problem with that. Nobody in the classroom who were playing these characters had a problem with that. I'm looking at the Mexican girl playing Ma Rainey. I'm offended. Ain't nobody gonna tear me. Stop. I'm looking around to see if anybody else has questions. Of course, the professor who casted this doesn't see anything wrong. But my ensemble of color, do we not see an issue here? Now, I don't want to say I should have been casted as Ma Rainey in this practice classroom play. Y'all are forcing me to say that. And I hate that for us. Guys, ensemble members, why is the Mexican girl casted as Ma Rainey, the dark-skinned black blues singer? Nobody else sees a problem with that. And this is why, low-key, I moved the way I moved with them. Black kids that assimilated in a white space. I can't see a problem here. I'm seeing the problem, and guess what? I became the problem. To be fair, when I brought this up in class to the white professor, some people were on my side like, oh shit, we hadn't noticed that before. Wow. And everybody kind of took a second, and then it became a debate whether Hispanic people should be casted to play Spanish roles, or is it okay to cast a white person? Conversation in the space was blowing my mind. I ended up getting called a bitch and the N-word by one of my ensemble members. I think he was Mexican. His name was Randy. Fuck you. Till this day, it's big fuck you. And the whole thing blew up. And I'm the one who brought up the conversation about the casting. I'm the one who got insulted by a fellow ensemble member. Because the whole thing blew up so bad, I was so upset that he called me out my name. I reported it. And the head of the program director tried to suspend both of us. I said, but he threatened me and called me out my name. They said I entertained the conversation. So, don't be black in a predominantly white space. I rest my case. I'm your favorite black ass Haitian homegirl. So I also want to note that I feel like the school itself was trying to break me. Like, they wanted me to be someone that I wasn't. They wanted me to be this particular black girl that I just wasn't. And I've seen how they did that with other students. Now, again, majority of my ensemble members were students of color. And I, not to toot my own horn, I was really talented at acting. And so was this other black boy in my class. And I would see some of the treatments that we would receive from staff. I'll speak for myself. They would pull me into the office, tell me, oh my God, you're really talented. You can really take this thing really far. They told me how I got accepted into the program and I blew them away with my talent and how they're really excited to have me. But I'm sabotaging everything for myself. And every time I would get pulled in for these talks, it would send me into a panic. It was like these little microaggressions. I remember specifically this one time I got pulled into the office and the head of the program director told me, you don't always have to be so rough and so tough. He says, I know you from the hood. I know you live in the hood, but you got to leave the hood at the door. The head of the program director told me that, to leave the hood at the door. Y'all see how I talk. What exactly was hood about me? I lived in the hood. I was very honest about that. But at the same time, I was never letting anybody play with me. White, staff, ensemble members or not. You're not gonna play with my top and not expect me to defend myself, which is literally what they wanted. I was too problematic because I called shit out every time. And if you started something with me, I had no problem finishing it. That part about myself was never gonna change. That's who I am inherently. Whereas a lot of people, including the ensemble members, could have disagreed with how I moved toward them, I never disrespected anybody. All I did was not sit with them. I didn't argue nobody down, didn't cuss nobody out, nothing. And as far as I was concerned, I was actually cool with each of them individually. If they ever came up to me to talk, we would talk. But as an ensemble, the things that we would sit there and talk about, I didn't care. And I'm so sorry I didn't fake it. Ironically, as an actor, I really don't fake things that well. And you know when you're facing real life problems and then you go somewhere where people are facing not even first world problem. Kim, there are people dying. That's how I felt in most of the conversations. I don't think marijuana is hard drugs. I can't talk to y'all. This is about to be a debate again. Let's not do this. I'm gonna sit over there. I feel like the one thing that did save me in that school was thank God for my mentor. We were each assigned a mentor when we first got into the program. And of course I was assigned the black girl with the afro. They said that I actually reminded them of her. And then when I met her, we looked nothing alike. Gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful woman. But we looked nothing alike. We both looked at each other and was like, makes sense. And my mentor, Angela, it's still all love, girl. She really made that Brooklyn college experience for me that much more normal. Because she experienced a lot of the things that I experienced. And one thing that I really respected about her was that she was unapologetically black. She was unapologetically from the hood. And they just learned to assimilate to her blackness, actually. And it was nice having that support. I have more stories. Oh, trust me. You know what? When the devil can't reach you, he will send your own ensemble members after you. Because at some point, they all came together and tried to get me and my homeboy, rest in peace, kicked out of the program. So, if it's not the white people, somebody is going to persecute you. They all snitched, man. They said, she be smoking weed, get her out of here. I laugh so I can keep from crying. I am back with another spooky story, and this one is terrifying. I posted the last story time about the Lugawu. So many people submitted stories about their country's version of Lugawus. I've never told a spooky story from Mexico before, but this is a good place to start. Somebody said my Aunt Rosa wasn't just a bruja. She was something worse. Yeah, you may not want to watch this one at night. I'm gonna call the person who submitted the story Mija. So Mija said when she was a kid growing up, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, mi corazon, correct me in the comments. Everyone in her family always had something to say about her tia. I'm gonna call the tia Rosa. Everybody was saying that her tia was a bruja, and not the kind that helped people with herbs and stuff. The kind that people cross the street to avoid. Mija said that she used to think that everybody was exaggerating. That is until the summer she got sent to stay with her. Mija's mother was sick. Tia offered to take care of Mija. Her house was like at the end of like this long dirt road. For some reason, there were a lot of dead agave plants like surrounding the property. She said the environment itself was just creepy. Even in the middle of the day, even the sun just didn't really shine in that area. Mija said now also inside the house felt really heavy. The house itself had like this weird scent to it. It smelled like burning copal, like something sweet, an underlying scent of something rotting. For some reason, every single window in her house was covered with some sort of black cloth. in the living room, there was a table that had jars with like different substances in them. Some of them looked like they had animal parts inside of them. Some of them looked like weird cloudy liquid with things floating inside. So on Miha's second night at her tia's house, she woke up to whispering, like noise, activities going on. But it's not coming from her room. It sounds like it's coming from underneath her room. She decides to like quietly exit the room. From the top of the stairs, she's looking down, y'all, to see who's sitting on the ground below, naked from the waist up. Her back was covered in these symbols, and it looked like the symbols were moving. She was whispering very powerfully into a bowl that looked like it was filled with blood. Inside the bowl appeared to be a pulse, as if the blood was moving or breathing. As she's watching her tia do this, and suddenly it's like Tia felt her watching her. Tia looks up, and suddenly, and Mia says, I swear, her eyes were black, no white at all. Miha's tia looks at her and says, go back to sleep, mijo. You'll need your strength tomorrow. Miha just went back to her bed, freaked out, and just tries to forget what she saw. Next day, she woke up, her tia was acting normal. Made her breakfast, asked her how she slept. Miha was so terrified, she couldn't eat. Kept thinking about what she saw last night, and to make matters worse, she started to notice things. Her aunt's shadow moved before she did. Bro? So the day passes, and later that night, she's trying to sleep and she hears scratching on the walls. First, the sound came from outside. Then it starts to sound like it's coming from inside of her room. When she turned, she said she saw a shape crouched in the corner of the room. This figure had long hair, really long limbs. Its head was tilted as if it was studying Miha. Then it spoke. It said to Miha, Tia wants your voice. Miha says she screamed to the top of her lungs, and then whatever that thing was just vanished. The following morning, she woke up, and Tia Rosa told Miha unfortunately her mother had passed. Miha said the crazy thing is, Tia didn't even look sad. That's when she knew that her aunt had done something. Maybe it was to keep her mother's soul, or maybe it was to trade it. Well, before she left her tia's house, she handed her a necklace. It was made with red thread and a tiny bone. Her tia told her, keep this close, or she'll visit you. Fast forward to now. It's been 10 years. Miha moved to the US. She says she still wears that necklace every night, because sometimes when she does it, she would dream of her mother, either chasing her or crouched at the foot of her bed begging for help. And sometimes her mother would threaten her, saying, I need your voice, mijo. Says she has no idea what that means, so she just wears the necklace to keep the bad dreams away. Wow. If you have a spooky story that you want me to tell, feel free to submit it to me right here on TikTok or on Instagram. While you're there, follow me on Instagram. If you want longer, better, and spookier stories, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And make sure you follow me here on TikTok for spooky content. By the way, we are doing 7 days of Halloween, which is where I tell a spooky story every single day for the next 7 days until Halloween. Make sure you keep coming back on my page because the stories are going to get spookier and spookier. Your favorite Haitian homegirl. Okay, so this person said that they knew they had no business doing a love spell. However, they were desperate. She said, I did a love spell on my husband and his mother took him back. I am back with another spooky story. If you say anything about my edges, you're definitely anti-black. We're gonna call the person who submitted the story Amara. Amara says, I never thought I'd write something like this, but I need someone to believe me. Amara is from Lagos, Nigeria. 4 years ago, Amara married into money. Her husband, we're gonna call him Chike. Chike comes from one of those old families with a big house. The house almost looks like a museum. Marble floors, artwork, and they even had servants. Amara said that when they first met, Chike wasn't like the rest of his family. He was kind, warm. He used to sneak away from his family's big gatherings just so he could talk to her in the garden. He told Amara that she made him feel normal. Well, those two married very quickly. They married 6 months after meeting. And Amara says from the day she walked into that mansion, she could just feel her husband's mother's eyes on her. We're gonna call Chike's mom Madam Ozioma. So Madam Ozioma did not like Amara at all. And Amara could feel that from day one. The thing is too, the staff would also talk about Madam Ozioma. She is a woman of power, you don't mess with her. She didn't wear charms or beads, but people basically cleared the way when she walked through. So at first, Amara brushed it off, thinking that the mom is just gonna like her eventually. However, over time, Chike started to change. He would come home distracted, acting distant. He would forget little things, like her birthday and plans that they've made together. His mother's disapproval became louder, even though she never said anything to Amara. She just had this passive-aggressive nature to her. Every time Amara would walk past, she would whisper things under her breath. So after After their 2-year anniversary, Amara at this point begins to panic. She just felt her man slipping away. That's when she remembered her old neighbor. We're gonna call her Mama Fioma. She was a market woman who was known for her prayers to work. Amara said she hadn't seen her in years, but desperations make you do some strange things. But one Saturday morning, she drove down to, I'm sorry if I butcher this, Balogun Market, found Mama Fiona. She told Mama Fiona that she needed something to strengthen her marriage. Mama Fiona looked at her for a long time before she finally said, "Love should not be forced, but if fear is what drives you, this should ease your mind." He gave her a small clay jar wrapped in red thread and said that it contained binding ashes, just to pinch in the husband's tea. He will love her again like he did on the first day. Amara went home shaking. And that night, she did it. He drank the tea, smiled, and kissed her. He told Amara that she was his world. And for a few weeks, everything felt perfect again. Now, this story actually does go on to traumatize me, actually. Amara says that it was so bad that she wishes till this day that she had never done this, because it was clear that she had messed with the wrong people. She did not know how powerful Chike's mother was. If you want to hear about her torment, you're gonna have to leave a comment for part 2. And make sure you follow me for spooky content. This video is getting way too long, but like I say at the end of every single video, I love you, my abducted humans, from your absolute favorite Haitian homegirl. And also, maybe just don't do love spells on people. I really hope that helps. Being a black content creator on this app, or maybe a black content creator period, you're gonna get a lot of brands playing in your face. Especially if you're not a part of like a creator agency. So a lot of the brands that you work with are brands that reach out to you. Now, outside of the fact that majority of the emails that you get from brands that you would actually want to work with, if you're not a part of an influencer agency, the odds of that being a scam is really high. I don't know how many times I got hit up and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm about to get my first brand deal. And it turned out to be a scam. Outside of dodging scams left and right, one thing that you can always count on are brands to play in your face. And I think it's so rude because y'all are treating me this way because I'm black. There was this one company that reached out to me. It's the AI characters, the AI game that can think for themselves. Those people reached out to me and originally they asked me to post 7 short videos. 7 7-second videos for the price of $200. 7 videos, 7 seconds long, $200, posted on the page, that's it. Now, 7 videos is a lot, but I agreed because each video only had to be 7 seconds long. And $200 for 49 seconds of work, why not? Right, I did the videos, they got approved, I posted the video. After I posted the 7 videos, the company gets back to me telling me, "Hey honey, can you share the Spark code on those videos?" Wait a minute, so y'all want to run ads on my page now? You know brands charge to run ads on creators' pages, right? Company originally never said anything about running ads on my page. All I agreed to do was 7-second videos to post them on my page. And after I did my part, the brand is now coming back to me telling me, "We can't pay you until you provide us Spark ads." No, this company wasn't asking for 30 days. They were asking to run ads on 7 videos on my TikTok account. They wanted to run ads on my page for 365 days. That is a year. A year of y'all working my content for $200. And conveniently, at the start of me agreeing to this, they never mentioned anything about Spark ad codes. Fuck it, I needed the bread. I already did the work, so I agreed. I will never ever work with Town AI ever again. Lesson learned. And I'm just gonna go ahead and chuck it up to the fact that majority of these brands or companies that play in my face are Asian companies. Korean, Chinese. I'm gonna chuck it up to a coincidence. I'm a part of this network. It's called 4am. It's basically this Korean agency that links influencers with, Korean skincare brands. And basically, it's a platform. They post the opportunities on the platform and the creators apply to all the opportunities. I have been a part of that company since the spring of this year. I would apply to all the campaigns and I wouldn't get anything. One day I got a notification to apply for a gifted campaign. I said, let me just see. I applied for the gifted campaign, meaning that they wouldn't pay me. Of course I got approved for that one. Before and after that, every other paid campaigns that I applied to, I never got accepted. The brand itself, till this day, we would love to work with you again for our new campaign. They truly appreciate my creativity and continuous support. And because of that, they want to invite me to work for free again. As great as my work is, and as much as I participate in their campaign, for some reason, I don't qualify to ever be paid. So, okay. That's cool. I had another app reach out to me and told me that they had the opportunity of a lifetime. I said, whoa, what is it? This one actually made me want to cry reading it. Again, another Asian company, Korean. They wanted me to run an entire TikTok account for them. I would be creating and posting the content for them on that TikTok page that isn't mine. For this campaign, you will need to create 50 videos for a new TikTok account. Every week, you are required to post 14 videos, 7 by Tuesday and 7 by Friday. Once you've posted all 50 videos, you will receive a total of $500. No, I actually want to cry because you think I'm a slave. No, I'm not done. I am a creator with almost 300,000 followers on this platform. My platform brings in at least, and I'm talking at least on a bad month, 2 million views. This company reached out to me from an influencer agency for one TikTok video, and TikTok is my largest platform. I tell y'all, I want to cry because I'm literally so frustrated that all these brands look at me like I am a slave. These people offered me $85 for one TikTok video. An AI company. This is exhausting. I be telling y'all to stop doing love spells on people. Love spells always backfire, and this story is no different. It's just a matter of how it actually backfired. Let's get into the story. So the lady gave her the binding ashes, and that night she went home and put a pinch in her husband's tea, and he drank it. He drank all of it. It's like immediately after he started being sweet again. He kissed her, he told her that she was his world, and for a few weeks everything was perfect. It was as though it was the first time that they'd ever met. They were right back in the honeymoon stage. However, that wouldn't last too long. A few weeks later, she started having nightmares. At first, it started with footsteps that she would hear in the hallway. However, everybody is fast asleep, so there shouldn't be footsteps in the hallway. Then she started dreaming of his mother standing at the foot of their bed. Her eyes were glowing green, and she would say to her in the dream, "You've touched what isn't yours." She woke up one night to find Chike sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, as if he was in some sort of trance or something. And when she tried to shake him out of it, he turned and very coldly, still in the trance, said, "She's calling me back home. She knows what you've done." And every single time he would snap out of the trance, he would have no memories of it. So days later after that trance situation, real strange things began happening. The mirrors in their bathroom would just fog up with symbols that she didn't recognize. The lights would always flicker when she entered his mother's side of the house. And one time she tried to speak to her mother-in-law, and y'all, she said she was so shocked when this woman said this, because that's all she replied, saying, "Do you think I wouldn't smell the spell you put on my son?" Miss Girl tried to deny it, but the mother is just staring at her smiling, and she did not break eye contact. And as Amara starts to leave, mother-in-law had one more thing to say. She said, "You binded him to yourself. Now I'll unbind him, but something must replace what you took." She went to sleep with Chike that night, kissed him goodnight, and when she woke up in the morning, Chike was gone. All his stuff packed, gone. Chike left in the middle of the night, but the weird thing is she's a light sleeper. She should have heard him leaving. She did not, which led her to believe that the mother-in-law had something to do with this. And the mother-in-law was very much so still in the house. She said within a week she left that mansion. And at that point she realized that Chike wasn't gonna have her back. He literally disappeared. Her only support in the house is gone, so the only thing that makes sense is for her to leave. And she says ever since she left Chike, she's been having a lot of problems, especially financially and conceiving. She has moved on with her life and tried to have kids of her own, but she seems to be struggling. And she also believes that Chike's mother had something to do with this. So she says this to say, don't do love spells on people. If you have a spooky story that you want me to tell, feel free to submit it to me right here on TikTok or on Instagram. And while you're on my Instagram, follow me there just so that I know that it's real. Duh. I'm so close to 10K. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel for longer, better, and spookier stories. Duh. Follow me right here on TikTok for spooky content. We are so close to 300K. Like I say at the end of every single video, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl. I don't know if you guys heard, but Jamaica is being hit by a hurricane, Hurricane Melissa. And I just say no. Melissa, please leave Jamaica alone. Please. Please, please, please. My best eater lives out there, bro. Oh my God. Leave him alone. Please, oh my God. Probably shacked up in the crib with the next gal. And mind you, I blocked him. He's blocked right now. So now I have to unblock him to see if he's okay. I really didn't want to have to do this. When I blocked him, I didn't think a hurricane was gonna hit. Like, golly. No, but on a serious note, I truly hope that everybody out there in Jamaica is doing okay. I am extending my prayers. I am praying for you guys and sending all of you guys love. If there is any way that we can help, whether that be donations, if there's a link or a website, please feel free to send it to me. I will put it in my bio. I know that this is very, very scary times right now, and I hope that everybody is safe. I pray that all of this blows over and everything turns out okay. Like I say at the end of every single one of my videos, I love you guys. I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl. And Mr. Jamaica, I hope you good. Can't wait to see you.